In this video, I'll be showing you guys, or bringing you along with, what I do to my Polygon Collosus N9 in preparation for an enduro race. Easy stuff, not very many tools. Just a couple little things, obviously the torque wrench, some grease, and I'll be bleeding the brakes, so got a little bit of that. And I love using these to clean the pivots of dirt, so we'll get to that as we arrive. But the main point of today is just to go through each one of these pivots and clean them out. Since the Polygon frame does not have a double sealed hardware, we're gonna have to get in there and clean the face of these sealed bearings. So let's get to it. All right, so first thing, we gotta get this chain off. Really like the quick release. Get this rear wheel taken off. We'll take this crank off. There we go. So if you notice, we have the DVO shock on here right now, and the reason why that is the Fox Float X2 failed again. So the new one that I just got failed. So we have the old trusty DVO on here, and so far the shock has performed very well with no issues. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. Shout out to DVO for that. Having a shock that can handle this frame seemingly perfectly fine. In comparison to the Fox Float X2 2023 and 2024 models have been kind of niche for me. But yeah, it is what it is. Alright, something with this Polygon you always got to think about is in here you have these little bitty washers, bam, for the shock. So you want to take those out, and what they do is you got on this side that, and on this side nothing, right? Quick presentation on what I was saying is, so you have the little crevice in there, and then you have the machine bolt. So when the machine bolt goes in here, you have this machined ledge, right? And then it fits right in there. Bam. And then that keeps from any play happening. So you want to make sure not to have that on there backwards, because then you might start getting play. Now for the fun part, just start taking apart all these pivots. Bam. So I'm going to have a look at these bearings. And this is why in between races, or anytime you can, you want to clean this. Alright, so right down in there, if you notice in that race, there is scum, dirt and stuff, that's made it behind the machine bolt and got into the face of that bolt, which is fine. So we're just going to clean that out. And then here, we're going to clean that one out. And that's the process. Yeah, it's a no-brainer to see all of the dirt in here, All that needs cleaned out pretty good. Like, look at that. You don't want that in there too long. And from here, it's super easy. All I got to do is just come into these pivots and clean out all this gunk, Go through, clean the face really good. That's why I like the Q-tips, because you can press real hard into the corners and get all that little stuff. And then you get a really clean bearing compared to this right here. So these bearings right here turn, see that? And I believe that's to prevent side loading on the shock, right? So while you're in here maintenancing, a really good way to do that is to turn the whole thing sideways and get all this grease out and go around, wipe it all off real good and replace all the grease, right? And to finish up, I'll be taking this Park Tools PPL1 and just put some grease in there, right? And the grease is to protect from moisture and, you know, dirt and everything like that. So since I live here in Arizona, I'm gonna put plenty of it in here, and then we'll clean it all off, all the excess afterwards. So with all the pivots greased up, I'm gonna go ahead and go through and clean all this stuff, just grease with a little bit of dirt here and there on these machine bolts. And we'll get these and I guess you call it the surface that the bearing is gonna go in right there, really clean. And then I'm gonna make sure I have no grease in the threads at all. That way we don't mess up our thread locker in any way. And a quick finishing touch. We're going to take a little bit of thread locker and we're going to put it in all these thread locations. Sorry for the background noise. Make sure we get plenty in there. Alright, so we got the torque wrench out and we're set to 20. So go ahead and torque up all the spots that I can torque up. Simple. That one's good. A couple other things. Get the old grease off that and put some new stuff on it. So last finishing touches, we'll be putting the shock on, put a little more thread locker in here. You always want to make sure you got plenty in that. Yeah, quick side note, you got to leave this off to pull this off back here. It just gives you more room. Anyways, and here's what I used for that job. All these not too much. And one paper towel. After completing all of the pivots and getting the bike completely assembled, now I'm going to go ahead and work on the brakes. So I want to replace the fluid in the brakes with, you know, our Shimano standard fluid and Shimano, you know, your regular bleed kit. Now grabbing this tank, just put this on the top. Real easy. Just screw this in. Make sure it gets flush against that seal. Don't need this. Real quick, like, just bam. And this part's easy. Just clip that on, loosen it slightly, and then so now if we take a look up here as I'm pressing this in very slowly, we're gonna get fluid start to move up here. Nice and dark. Then the finish, just gonna tighten that. Bring the wrench in here. Look at the darkness. You can see the original fluid that came out, and then you can see the new fluid underneath it. So since we still have the pads down there, we can go ahead and just try to burp any bubbles out of here by pulling the lever. Oh, look at that. Nothing. The lever's super tight. Look at that. That's a good bleed right there. Not even a single bubble. All right. And to finish real easily, we'll just put the plunger in there. I'll stop it before it runs all over the lever. And essentially, should have fluid right there. See, no bubbles, nothing. So when I put this to finish up real quick, I like to put this in right in a way where I'm not going to add any bubbles. So I'm going to go in diagonally and then slowly get that worked in. Bam. And you're going to get a little fluid push out. I just captured it. That's it. Don't even need to clean anything. So I'll do the last, brake, the only other brake, and then we'll do a little fork boost on the shock and the front fork. Keep the bike upside down for a few days before the race. That way the seals can be nice and oiled. And other than that, this bike is totally ready to go. I'll have a brand new tire that I'll be putting on right before. And that's it. So that's what I do to prepare for an enduro race, or at least with this bike for now, and this race. And if you're at all interested or just slightly interested in a Polygon bike, there's a link in the description. If you click on that link, that'll help support the channel, and it'll give you the opportunity to check out what BikesOnline has, which a lot of really good bikes.